What's up, guys? This is Derek from moreplatesmoredates.com. Today we're going to be talking about my current hair loss prevention regimen. So, a lot of people followed my dutasteride experiment. They followed my trestilone experiment. I've done a variety of random things over the past few years, and everyone's asking, "Oh, do you still use RU 58401? What about dutasteride? Why did you drop it? Blah blah blah." So the majority of it, I understand the videos are super long, so not everyone wants to sit through them. There is article formats as well on moreplatesmoredates.com where you can see, written transcriptions essentially of the videos if you want to and it's also broken down by index for sub topics within the broad, general subject. So you can see the purpose of each experiment, what conclusions were, why I stopped, the treatment or whatever. So dutasteride, the reason I stopped that was because it doesn't handle testosterone at all. It just handles DHT. So obviously DHT is the main thing to take into account here, but I'm trying to find a one-stop shop kind of all-encompassing thing that can stop hair loss while still maintaining a good physique with a lot of anabolic activity, and something that's widely applicable that isn't just going to it's kind of hard to explain, but basically I'm just trying to find every single possible efficacious treatment so then I can relay info to you guys, as well as figure out for myself what works and what doesn't work, and then kind of at the end of it all, culminate the best things into, the ultimate, treatment, and run that forever. So right now what I'm experimenting with is a bioidentical synthetic progestin. And while that sounds intense, it's actually injectable too. And while that sounds super intense, it has about 20% of the activity as progesterone on the receptor. Keeping a close eye on things. I kind of know what I'm doing in terms of I've manually screwed with my hormones many, many times before throughout my bodybuilding history. So I have things on hand if necessary to mitigate side effects. So I'm not too concerned, but I'm trying to get to the bottom of all this and find the most effective treatments that take care of all angles, as opposed to just crush test, crush DHT, crush blah, blah, blah. So, as well as fulfill all the major other physiological functions. So if you go look through 2018, my hair got a lot worse. It's better now that I'm off of, I wasn't using RU for the entirety of 2018. The dutasteride, I just wanted to double check as far as its efficacy in relation to just handling testosterone in men. It's essentially a Band-Aid. So a lot of guys long term, it can sustain them till they die, but eventually, maybe not even a lot of guys. I think most guys it'll prevent loss for maybe a couple decades for some guys. For some guys who are super sensitive, it'll only prevent loss it's not even going to prevent loss at all for some guys. As far as any treatment essentially that doesn't totally take care of the androgen paradox, it's kind of just like a slow burn, and you're kind of just offsetting the eventual inevitable. But that's assuming that certain pathways haven't been addressed. And if those pathways are addressed, then it's quite possible that, indefinite levels of prevention can be achieved. And that's sort of what I'm trying to delve into, as opposed to just I don't even use minoxidil right now, which is something I could easily throw into increase circulation, increase PGE2, increase, it's obviously a good density builder, but I get side effects from it, water retention wise, that I really don't like. I also don't like its effect on the cardiovascular system. It's actually probably one of the more side effect ridden drugs in my opinion. So I'm not against it though. And I'm not saying I wouldn't use it someday. I've used it in the past and got off of it. But just as far as like delving into my protocol, this has gotten so off track. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. Using a bioidentical synthetic progestin, injecting it once every other day. As far as that, the effect that has on endogenous testosterone is it essentially nukes it. And this is intentional. It actually has a higher binding affinity for AR, and it is more anabolic in muscle tissue than testosterone. So that's the reason why I'm like interested in it, to be honest. And then it actually gets 5-alpha reduced into a less androgenic metabolite and in scalp, prostate, etc., which would then also disqualify the need for 5-AR inhibitors, and it would actually make it more beneficial without 5-AR inhibitors. And then the result of that, testosterone, DHT are crushed, so then you have to supplement with exogenous estradiol in order to bring levels up to where they should be physiologically. So I don't use it for like male to female transitioning levels of estrogen. I'm using it to, I just literally started adding it in to fulfill the levels that I wouldn't have otherwise, because on this progestin, you essentially nuke test, which then nukes the amount of aromatization in the body. Therefore, you have no estrogen, and then your, hair growth is going to suffer as a result, as well as, more importantly, just like basic functions of staying healthy. So the estrogen gets added in to bring levels up to, like 30 picograms per milliliter approximately. And then ideally the progestin would also bind to the receptor and induce progesterone-like effects, which can be hair protective in conjunction with the estrogen. And then, I don't know why I just said it like that. It sounded really weird. And then wounding once a week, 1.5 millimeter derma pen once a week. And might be adding in PGE2, which many of you guys may or may not know is, thought to be the kind of mechanism behind minoxidil's efficacy, in addition to its increase of circulation. And then on top of that, I might be experimenting with PGD2 inhibitors and some other stuff like that. But the route I'm taking is a bit different than, like, I'm never going to get to a point where I'm using a systemic anti-androgen that, essentially destroys your manhood. Like, I'm never going to get to that point. I'm trying to find an alternative that circumvents the need to do that and still maintains masculinity while preventing hair loss and putting yourself in a position with all possible hair protective factors in check. And this is irrelevant to diet and inflammation levels in the body, because you should just have a perfect diet anyways. And that's not that's beyond the scope of what I want to talk about, because I've already talked about, it's not very hard to eat a diet not full of crap and get your C-reactive protein levels down. And that's not really part of the regimen. Like the stuff I'm actually delving into is stuff irrelevant to nutritional deficiencies and stuff like that, because that stuff should all be taken care of. That's just that should be a given if you really, really are taking it seriously. And if you've seen my previous blood work, you'll know that I keep that stuff in check via diet and, lifestyle and whatnot. And anything above and beyond that, the hormonal pathway is more so what I'm exploring. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. It changes all the time, honestly. So when guys are like, oh, what are you doing right now? It varies depending on what I'm trying to figure out at the time. But basically, that's what I'm doing right now. I'll keep you guys posted as I, go through it and whatnot. And not advising to do this. Obviously, this is like what I would consider a very, very advanced, extreme protocol that you would only be able to undertake if you understood pharmacology of anabolics, as well as the functions of the endocrine system and kind of the pathway of how how hormones facilitate their functions in the body, both in males and females, and reverse engineering it for males and hair loss. As I progress, I'll keep you guys posted on what's going on, but that's my current regimen. Don't go slap estrogen on your head. Don't go do some crazy stuff that gives you gyno. So anyways, I'll keep you guys posted. Getting way off track here. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe. Check out my blog, moreplates.com. Check my Instagram at moreplates_moredates, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, etc. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.